When you think about the booming e-commerce scene in Southeast Asia, you probably think of the big marketplace names. But the real power players, they're often working behind the scenes. We're talking about e-commerce enablers, and they are in the middle of a massive live transformation. So what exactly is an e-commerce enabler? Well, let's say you're a big brand. An enabler is the expert team you hire to run your entire online show. Seriously, everything from setting up your store on Lazada or Shopee to handling marketing to making sure orders actually get to customers. They manage all the nitty-gritty stuff.
Now, you might look at that market size, a little over $1 billion, and think, that's not huge. But that number really doesn't tell the whole story. The real question is, why are these companies so incredibly vital for hundreds of global brands in the region? Well, it all comes down to just how complex this market is. I mean, Southeast Asia is incredibly fragmented. A single brand might need to operate on 4 different marketplaces across a bunch of different countries, and they all have their own rules. Plus, many of these brands are trying to make that tough switch from selling in bulk to businesses to selling directly to you. Trying to build an in-house team and the right tech to handle all that, it's a huge headache. And that's exactly the problem enablers are built to solve.
You know, a really simple way to picture it is this. If a brand is the star performing on stage, the enabler is the entire backstage crew. They're managing the lights, the sound, the set changes, everything that makes the show run perfectly. They're the ones making the magic happen behind the curtain.
But here's the twist. That stage is getting a complete makeover. The whole industry is pivoting, and they're pivoting hard towards a new, explosive trend, live commerce. And we're not talking about a small change here. This is a fundamental shift in how they do business.
To put it simply, the game is changing. The old way of just putting up a product listing and waiting for sales just isn't cutting it anymore. The future of shopping is interactive, it's engaging, and it's happening live.
And this is where you can see the massive opportunity. Just look at China. Live commerce is already a mind-blowing 30% of all e-commerce there. Right now, Southeast Asia is way behind, but it's catching up, and fast. That gap? That's a gold rush, and enablers are racing to get on the action.
So, how are they doing it? By basically ripping up their old playbooks. They're not just offering services anymore. Now they're selling their own software on a subscription basis. They're starting new brands from scratch, and most importantly, they're becoming official partners with giants like TikTok while building their own networks of creators, kind of like talent agencies to pump out live content.
See, platforms like TikTok have built this entire ecosystem just for this. They've got official partners to help brands, these MCNs to manage creators, and affiliate programs to link them all together. The really smart enablers aren't just taking part, they're embedding themselves into every single piece of this new puzzle.
Okay, to make all this a bit more real, let's zoom in on one of the biggest players in Vietnam, a company called OnPoint. Their journey is the perfect example of how an enabler is evolving to tackle this new world head-on.
Founded back in 2017, OnPoint has been on an absolute rocket ship. They had a solid Series A in 2020, then raised a huge Series B in 2022, and just this year, they bought another company to expand across the region. This isn't just growth, it's a clear signal that they want to dominate.
And let's just pause on that Series B number. $50 million. That was the biggest private investment in this entire industry in Southeast Asia in the last 5 years. That tells you everything you need to know about how much investors believe in this new model. So where's all that cash going? Well, a huge chunk of it is going into building what they call a live hub. We're talking about more than 30 professional live streaming studios. This isn't just some side gig for them. This is a core part of their strategy to win the live commerce game by giving their brands broadcast quality production.
And this investment really sets them apart. You see, while some competitors might focus only on small businesses or go all in on just TikTok, OnPoint's big strength is its omni-channel approach. They can manage a brand's presence everywhere, from the old-school marketplaces to the new world of live TV-style shopping. But, of course, it's not all smooth sailing. The whole market is in flux, and with great opportunity comes some pretty big challenges. The ground is literally shifting under these companies' feet.
So what's the biggest threat? It's the e-commerce platforms themselves. You know, Lazada, Shopee, TikTok. They're now launching their own fully managed services. They're offering brands a lot of the same things the enablers do. In a wild twist, the enablers are now competing directly with their biggest partners.
And what happens when that kind of pressure builds? You get a frantic race to consolidate. Smaller companies are getting scooped up, and the bigger players are trying to scale up across the region just to survive. The market is sending a very clear message: get big or get bought.
And hey, don't just take it from me. OnPoint's own CEO, Mr. Tran, predicts that out of the 100 or so companies in the market today, only 2 or 3 dominant regional players will be left standing to lead Southeast Asia. The stakes really couldn't be any higher.
Just to put that into perspective, imagine a market shrinking from about 100 different companies all competing, down to just a tiny handful of giants. That's the consolidation challenge in a nutshell.
So, that leaves us with the big question, right? With the platforms themselves jumping into the ring and this massive wave of consolidation coming, who is actually going to own the future of e-commerce in Southeast Asia? Will it be the nimble, specialized enablers or the giant, powerful platforms?
What's absolutely clear is that e-commerce enablers are at a major turning point. This evolution into live commerce isn't just about survival, it's about defining the future of how we all shop online. The battle for Southeast Asia's digital backstage has only just begun.